I never thought yanking a fake, no fishing sign from my lakefront property would spark a war that nearly shattered my family. It began as a simple act of defiance, but it unleashed a storm orchestrated by a woman named Evelyn, who wielded her so-called HOA power like a sledgehammer. Her first move was calling 911, branding me a criminal, but that was merely the opening shot. What followed was a sinister web of anonymous threats, eerie calls about my kids, and a neighborhood turned against me through lies. Evelyn's scheme wasn't about fishing, it was a ruthless grab for something far bigger. And when I fought back, let's just say her precious HOA boats met an end she never saw coming. Drop a comment with where you're reading from. I love seeing our community span the globe. It was a crisp June morning when I strolled to my dock, coffee steaming, fishing rod in hand, craving the peace of my private lake. The sun danced on the water, birds chirped until I saw it. A shoddy wooden sign, stabbed into my shoreline 20 feet onto my land, blaring no fishing. By order of HOA in messy, juvenile scrawl. The logo was off an old HOA design, not the one on recent flyers. It screamed prank, but its precise placement felt calculated. I'd lived here 2 years since inheriting the lake from my grandfather, with no HOA drama beyond their nagging lawn memos. Yet this sign sat right where I parked my fishing chair. My grandfather's warning rang in my ears. If someone tries to control this lake, they want more than fishing rights. Staring at that sign, his words felt like a prophecy. I pulled it out not angrily, just firmly. The cheap wood and flaking paint looked like a hardware store reject. I figured I'd track down the culprit, have a polite chat, and get back to fishing. Easy, right? Dead wrong. I'd barely reached my dock when a piercing voice hit me. "What do you think you're doing?" I turned to see Evelyn, mid-50s, blonde hair, screaming, "I want to speak to the manager," charging at me like she owned my lake. A young guy trailed her, filming with his phone, like they'd planned this ambush. "You're destroying HOA property," she screeched, pointing like I'd robbed a bank. She claimed the lake-bordered community land, utter nonsense. My property lines were clear. I stayed calm, showed her the boundaries, offered my deed, but she wasn't listening. Her eyes had the wild gleam of someone who never hears no. Her glances at the filming guy screamed setup. Then she called 911, voice thick with theatrics. "I need police now. This man's threatening me and destroying community property." Threats? I'd only removed a fake sign from my land. She fed the dispatcher my address, describing me like I was waving a gun. Neighbors peeked out as the scene spiraled. When the cops arrived, my pulse raced not from guilt, but from the unpredictability. Evelyn put on a tearful act, claiming she was protecting neighborhood kids from unsafe water. I showed the officers my deed, survey maps, and inheritance papers, proving the lake was mine. The senior cop turned to Evelyn. "Ma'am, he owns this land. You can't put signs here." But then he looked at me. "Work it out. Keep the peace." Keep the peace? She'd called the law on me for defending my property. I thought it was over, but as I walked home, I overheard Evelyn on her phone. "We need a new plan. This requires more coordination." Coordination? My blood chilled. That night, I couldn't sleep, haunted by her words and my grandfather's warning. At 7 a.m., boat motors jolted me awake. From my window, I saw 2 boats in my lake's center, not fishing, just lingering. Evelyn stood on shore with a clipboard, directing like a commander. "We need to wrap this up by next month's deadline," one guy said. Deadline? For what? I sprinted to the water, yelling, "This is private property." Evelyn smirked, waving papers. "Michigan riparian rights grant community access." Her rehearsed tone set off alarms. The boaters held fishing rods, but had no bait, no coolers, just phones, snapping my shoreline. One guy's rod wasn't even in the water, just propped up as he photographed my land. "Hope the survey team got enough yesterday," another muttered. Survey team? I started recording. Evelyn handed me official HOA documents, but the letterhead was wrong, the stamp a cheap post office knockoff. "These don't give you trespassing rights," I said. She signaled the boaters, who packed up slowly, like they were buying time. I called my lawyer friend, Brian, who said, "Real HOAs don't work like this. She's fishing for something." That evening, an unmarked envelope in my mailbox held a chilling note. "Smart owners sell before they're forced. Everyone has a price." Then Evelyn's social media post hit. accusing me of blocking kids' access to nature. Strangers called me selfish, entitled. Identical complaint letters flooded my inbox, like they'd been scripted. Then, a call from an unknown number. Mr. Carter, I know your wife's job and where your son goes to school. Be cooperative. My stomach sank. Brian found Evelyn had been ousted as HOA president for embezzling, yet she silenced neighbors with legal threats. Things escalated. My new no trespassing signs were defaced with "Nature belongs to all" in red spray paint. Protesters gathered with megaphones, chanting about community rights. My wife, Emily, found a note on her car: "Parents who defy community values shouldn't raise kids." My boss got calls labeling me unstable. Then, the worst hit. Dozens of dead fish floated in my lake, poisoned by chemicals dumped overnight. The environmental inspector confirmed it, but said prosecution needed evidence. Sitting by my ruined lake, clutching a photo of my grandfather fishing there, I broke down. My son, Ethan, found me, asking, "Daddy, why do people think you're bad?" That broke me. I overheard Evelyn on her phone. Phase 1 worked, his family's cracking. The lake's toxic. Is Plan B ready? Plan B? I went full defense, installing cameras, audio recorders, and cloud backups. I tricked Evelyn into a meeting, sounding defeated, hinting I'd sell to developers. She brought real estate proposals, gloating. "I've spent months making your life hell for this." I recorded every word, photographed her handwriting, yet matched the threats. Brian uncovered Evelyn's ties to Bayside Development, a company targeting lakefront heirs with harassment for cheap sales. Victims in Ohio and Indiana confirmed identical scams. An elderly neighbor, Mrs. Ellis, revealed Evelyn's real name, Victoria Lane, in a past fraud arrest. At a packed community meeting, Bayside's rep, David Holt, claimed legal lake rights. I played Evelyn's confessions, showed fake documents, and had victims speak. Mrs. Ellis exposed her identity. The crowd turned furious. My unedited footage of confronting Evelyn about stalking my family, showing photos of Ethan's window, sealed it. Evelyn tried tears, claiming I threatened her, but my final blow was footage of her poisoning my lake, plotting with Holt. The room erupted. Police arrested Evelyn. The FBI uncovered a $12 million fraud across 6 states. I spent $15,000 to secure exclusive lake access, banning all boats with bold signs. Private lake. Watercraft prohibited. Evelyn, aka Victoria, got 3 years in prison and $50,000 in restitution. My lake recovered. I host private fishing tournaments for trusted friends. Ethan, now 9, brags how daddy stopped the bad guys. Evelyn called from jail, hinting at more threats, but I've shared everything with the FBI. Evil thrives when good people stay silent, but with evidence and grit, even the darkest plots collapse. What's Plan B? Share your theories below.